My name is Emeka, and I am no longer an addict to porn. So, hi guys. Today is another episode of Liberal Addiction. So welcome. It's good to have you. It's good to be here. Last week we were talking about the troubles that I had to go through before I realized that I didn't have to depend or rely on self-will, that I had to depend on only God to help me and see me through it. So here we are. I can happily, confidently say that I am 1 year free and I'm still going strong because I know that I have what it takes to thrive and to prosper in my freedom. I have what it takes to keep this journey going on. This journey of freedom, I am not going to lose it. I am keeping on, and I am doing so with the power of the Holy Spirit in me. So that is my testimony. So that was what we talked about last week. And this week, we are going to be talking about, I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 dangers that come with being addicted to pornography and masturbation. 5 dangers that come with being addicted to pornography and masturbation. Now, first of all, you have to understand the pleasure that you get from pornography and masturbation lasts for just a fleeting time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you are done. And then you are back to feeling depressed. You are back to feeling bad about yourself. Your confidence has just gone out. Your confidence has just left you. And then you are back to feeling downcasted. I can't find a way to rid ourselves of this constant cycle, this loophole of feeling like we're not good enough. We can only do so by depending on the Holy Spirit, the power of the Holy Spirit that He gives us to take up the challenge of saying, okay, I am not going to be under this bondage anymore. I am going to liberate myself. I am going to be free by whatever it takes. If it takes studying the Bible, if it takes reading the Word, if it takes connecting with people more, if it takes reaching out to people, creating friendships, creating bonds, then that is what I am going to do. And I want you to make that decision if it comes to that. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 dangers of pornography and masturbation. And by the time you understand these dangers, you are going to know where you stand first off. Because if you do not understand the problem, then you cannot find a way to start solving it. You cannot find a way to start attacking the problems, because you cannot attack what you cannot see. So by telling you these 5 things that you are going to be aware of, then you know that this is what the enemy looks like. This is what the enemy makes me feel like. This is what the enemy, which is the pornography and the masturbation, the bondage of it, this is what it causes me to be. And when I realize that this is what it is, then I can find a way to start fighting it off. One of the dangers of pornography and masturbation is it makes us become desensitized to the people around us. It makes us become emotionally disconnected. We do not feel the need to create bonds. We do not feel the need to foster relationships between ourselves and people, because we are always shying away from it. That shyness comes from a deep sense of unworthiness. It comes from a deep sense of we are not good enough. And the only way you can attack that, the only way you can turn that around to favor you, is if you begin to understand the dangers that come with that inability to connect with people. Because humans generally, we are social human beings. We are people who love to connect. We are people who love to make friends, to make acquaintances, to get to know the people around us, both in our work, both in our jobs, both in our church places, both wherever we find ourselves. We want to create relationships with people. We want to connect with them. So this feeling of not being able to connect because of our deep sense of unworthiness, it limits us, and that is one of the dangers. That is one of the things that could really hamper our progress in life. When we are not able to foster relationships, start conversations with people, we do not have the confidence to talk to them. And this is one of the dangers. And I tell you what, if you have to start now. You have to start now. to start fighting it. You have to start now to start winning that battle. And the only way you can start is if you realize that this is a danger. Your desensitizement to connections with people is a danger. It rids you of potential connections with people that might help you in life. So start now to attack that problem. The number 2 thing that I'd like to talk about is our addiction to pornography and masturbation creates a deficiency mindset. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it creates in us that inability to see how powerful we are, the inability to see just how good enough we are. Everything that is happening around us, we just let it pass us by. We don't feel inclined to want to be involved with life. We don't feel inclined to want to be involved with people. We just shut off ourselves from the world, and that is no way to live. Absolutely no way to live. We have to connect with people. We have to create the mindset that we are enough. And how can we start creating this mindset? It is when we start bringing ourselves under the control of the Spirit. It is when we start bringing ourselves under the control, the guidance of the Spirit. Not just our self-will, but also the will of the Spirit, the strength that the Spirit gives us, so that we can be able to stay strong in our journey of breaking free from addiction. Now, the third thing I'd like to talk about is we lose the will to do the hard things. One of the dangers of pornography and masturbation is that you lose the will to do the hard things. You lose the will to want to have hard conversations with people. You lose the will to want to foster new relationships. You lose the will to want to talk to that friend of yours who is a girl. You lose the will to want to air your own views or your own points of view because you feel unworthy, because you feel like you are not good enough. That is a terrible thing. It's a terrible place to be. It's a terrible feeling. And when we start understanding this, then we can start finding ways to break free from that cycle of feeling that we are not good enough. We lose the will to do the hard things. And when we lose the will to do the hard things and we try to push ourselves towards doing the easier things, we find that even the easier things that we used to do become more difficult to do. So instead of confront that person confidently, we want to shy away from it because we do not have the effrontery to do so. Instead of complete that task, we try to procrastinate because we have lost the motivation to do so. Instead of attack our goals, instead of push to find a way through difficulties in life. Of course, there will always be difficulties, but instead of us to find a way to move through those difficulties, instead of us to find solutions to those problems, we just lose our motivation. We simply just let it go and we procrastinate and we talk about how we are going to do it another time and we talk about how we are going to do it another time, and just like that, time keeps going away and we keep remaining in that same cycle of bondage. So we have to understand this and we have to break free, and how we have to start doing the hard things. And the way we can do the hard things is when we make the hard things easy to do. Of course, this journey is not going to be an easy one, but I know that what I want is for you to join me on this journey so that we can go it together. That is absolutely what I want. There's strength in numbers, and I know that with you joining me on this journey, we can break free and we can stay free. That is absolutely what I want. That is what I would love to happen. So that is the number 3 thing. We lose our will to do the hard things. So that is one danger we have to watch out for. Now the 4th thing that we have to watch out for is that we lose our life force. Now what is the life force? The life force is the semen that we have. It is the very essence of our being. That is the seed that every creation comes out from. It is the seed that implants a woman and she is able to give birth to a child. Allows us to be able to procreate. If such a seed is so powerful to give life, then imagine if we decide to store it inside of us. Imagine if we decide to keep it instead of letting it spill off in our constant pursuance of pursuing pleasure. We let it stay inside of us. We let it build inside of us. We let it grow inside of us. We let it reside inside of us. And we use that. It creates a feeling of superhumanness. It creates a feeling of strength. Really, that is what it does. Because if such an entity such as the semen can create life, therefore if you keep it inside of you long enough, it's a kind of powerful force that you couldn't find anywhere else. It's a powerful force that you couldn't get anywhere else. I mean, reading on Napoleon Hill's book where he talks about semen retention and its advantages, you will understand what I'm talking about better. The ability to retain semen, it gives us the gateway into our genius. So that means when we are able to retain our semen, it gives us the ability to be more creative. It gives us the ability to be more confident. It gives us the ability to be more proactive in whatever it is that we do. It gives us the ability to solve problems, everyday problems that come our way. So that is one of the major things that we need to understand about the dangers of addiction to pornography and masturbation. When we let this life force spill away continually, we lose an essence of us that can never be gotten back. So we need to be aware of the fourth thing, which is the life force that we have, which is our semen. Once we can keep it inside of us, we have the potential to become geniuses. We have the potential to be more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. So the number 5 thing that I want to talk about is our sense of freedom. Pornography and masturbation takes away our sense of freedom. The ability to decide for ourselves that I don't want to be doing this anymore. Instead of constantly, when you feel depressed or when you feel down, that urge to go back, that urge to go and gain that little bit of pleasure for 5 minutes, we can fight it and we can say, no, I do not want to do that. Instead of me to go back and go and watch porn and see 2 people have sex, I am going to study my Bible. Instead of me to go back and go and get pleasure, I am going to pass through this pain. I am going to do something else that is going to uplift my mind mentally. I am going to do something else that is going to uplift my mind spiritually. I am going to do something else that is going to add to my personal improvement and my development. The continual doing of this is going to change our mentality. I guarantee it. It's going to change our mentality for good. So I hope these 5 dangers that I have listed out, they help you to understand better the scenario and how you can pattern your life in such a way that you become a winner. That is simply what it is. By the power of the Holy Spirit, you become a winner. By the power of the Holy Spirit, you thrive in whatever it is that you do. You become more confident. You become more active, proactive in whatever dealings